again. My name's Kevin Harold and I'm the Marketing Manager at 10 Group. As I mentioned before in the previous edition of the bulletin, we would be introducing some of our major suppliers, and it gives me great pleasure again to introduce Sheri Dahlke of Polywater. What have been the most important lessons you've learned during your tenure at Polywater?
During my time at Polywater, I've learned to stay open-minded. I have learned to never say, we already tried that and it didn't work. You never know when a situation has changed or something you had tried before, and now the time is right, now it's a good solution. So I have learned to respect other people's opinions. I've learned to listen to others more carefully.
How has your customer service evolved over your 32 years at Polywater?
That's a good question. And when I first started and was answering tech service questions, I had to learn a whole new language, the language of cabling and construction. It would be overwhelming as people gave me all the details and I had to sort out what they were really asking. I was much more concerned with getting an answer to the customer, whether it's a coefficient of friction, whether the cable is compatible with our lubricant, or something like that. More recently, I am more involved in the process, in the conversation, what the customer is asking. So I want to hear the story, understand maybe what they're really asking, what their concerns are, maybe what their pain points are. How will the customer approach the installation? What can I do to help with that? I see us as more as partners in the way I handle customer service these days. And I'm always looking to see what else can I do? How else can I support that relationship?
What have been some of the biggest milestones you've achieved during your time at Polywater?
My achievement milestones really come from product development touch points. The things that have driven product development include new installation technologies. Early on in my career, I was able to see fiber cable being installed with a blowing machine for the first time. In fact, I was on a job site where everyone at the job site, it was their first time seeing the technology, and we were all gobsmacked. It was so much more efficient and it was exciting to see how it worked. We knew right away we needed to develop a new lubricant to work in that system. It was a really different way to install cable. We were able to get that piece of equipment and bring it back to our laboratory and work with it for a while, developing our lubricant. So at the time, we thought that might be the end of cable lubricants, but as the story unfolds, it absolutely was not, and we just keep putting more and more fiber underground. Other things that can drive technology and have driven our product development are changes in cable. And as cable become more higher performing, they have different technologies that we have to play around with. For example, a lot of low smoke jackets had some compatibility issues with our current lineup of lubricants. We developed Polywater LZ to be compatible with the low smoke jackets, and today that jacket type is used in most indoor applications. Another one is Cat 6 cable. So these high performance twisted pair copper communication cable, we were seeing a lot of attenuation and problems when we were going to these higher data rates. That's when we learned that the thin film lubricant was a proper lubricant for that cable. Today, we see climate change and environmental changes influencing our product development as well. Things like a lot of flooding and environmental changes that causes us to really have to harden the plant. So what we're doing now is developing a lot with sealants and protecting the plant right now with sealing out water and other kinds of environmental effects. What we're also seeing coming into the future is difficulty getting labor, the cost of labor. So everything we do, we try to look at ways we can make it easier to use, faster to use, more effective for longer term. So those touch points really have to do with the changing industry, but those are the way I kind of mark the time of my career as well.
What advice would you give someone looking to pursue a career in the electrical or communication industry?
First of all, I think this is a terrific industry. So I'm very happy to promote someone coming into this world. Infrastructure is in a growth pattern as far as I can tell. There's so many different things that you can get involved with and do. But the fact that it drives so many other things we do, it's very foundational to our world. Our electrical and our communication systems, really without them, that's the first thing you want restored after a storm or a terrible event. So it's just very important to what we're doing. In the past, I might say it's maybe not really techy or exciting, but I don't even think that's true anymore. I think the technology I'm seeing is really groundbreaking, and you can really make a difference in what's happening out there. It's a lot flashier than it used to be. So what I really want to say is I admire the way contractors work in this field. I think some of the work is difficult, requires every time you're solving a problem, every time you're at a new job site, it's something different, something that you have to solve. I find that just really fascinating. So I think anyone on any kind of aspect would find this industry really interesting and engaging.
How has the regulatory environment changed since you began working at Polywater, and how have you adapted to those changes?
This is a great question. Chemicals have always been heavily regulated, but more so now than ever. I think it's a good thing. I think we have more understanding of both the human safety and the environmental aspects of chemicals. The chemical products used today are certainly safer than they've ever been, and we're working hard to communicate any hazards more easily. The difficulty, as I see it, is the variations from country to country, from organizations within the same country. There's not really a unified enforcement, I guess I would say. So that can be really difficult. We'll see, for example, different occupational exposure limits assigned to the same chemical. So that seems confusing. It's even confusing on my end. What we try to do at Polywater is make the label and the usage as clear as possible. We do a lot with packaging to make it easier to use, safer to use. Make sure people are using gloves, they have less handling direct contact with anything that's chemical. So I think today we're really working towards a better situation. And whether you like regulatory or laws or rules, they have a role, and they've been helpful, in my opinion.
And this concludes our interview with Sheri Dahlke. And we'd like to thank her so much for taking time out of her very busy schedule to do this interview. Thank you very much, and thank you, Polywater.